Hello and welcome to this rather special LinkedIn Live session with Vodafone. My name is Lucy Hedges. I'm the technology editor for the Metro newspaper and all-round technology enthusiast, and it is my great pleasure to introduce two brilliant individuals from the Vodafone team. I am, of course, talking about Johan Wibergh, Chief Technology Officer, and Leanne Wood, Chief HR Officer, both of which are here to talk all things Vodafone technology. So hi guys, first things first, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Excellent.
Doing excellent, Lucy.
Well, thank you for joining us. Now, before we dive deep into the topic today, let's start by hearing a little bit from you and about what you do. Leanne, let's go with you first.
Well, I'm Leanne Wood. I lead our people function here at Vodafone, where we have over 100,000 employees, so it keeps me pretty busy.
Yeah.
Everything from hiring people, developing them, figuring out how we work best, how we develop our culture. So, yeah, I've been here 3 years. I love it.
So you're all about the people, the culture, that positive work ethos. Fantastic. Johan, what about you?
Well, my name is Johan Wibergh. I'm the CTO for Vodafone. That means I'm responsible for the technology organization, our networks, our digital and IT systems, cybersecurity, and building and delivering our products to our customers. I've been with Vodafone for 7 years, and originally I'm an engineer. I have a master in computer science.
So you're all about the tech, and a man after my own heart there.
Absolutely.
Now, many of us will know Vodafone as a mobile operator or broadband provider, but the company is about so much more than this. It's developing a new generation of connectivity and digital services that will ultimately underpin changes in our society and how businesses operate. Now, with a bold technology strategy and brilliantly ambitious plans, Johan and Leanne have very kindly agreed to take some time out of their very busy schedules to sit down and talk to me about where Vodafone is headed in the technology space and how it's attracting the right talent. So on that note, I'm going to dive straight in with our first question. We've got lots to talk about and only a little bit of time. So Johan, my first question is for you. Can you tell us about Vodafone and your technology strategy?
Sure. So let me start and give you a few words around Vodafone, what we're doing. So we are one of the world's largest telecommunications providers. We operate mainly in Europe and Africa. We have a very large mobile and fixed network. We're actually the Europe's largest mobile and fixed network provider. And we provide gigabit speed, both on fixed and mobile side. On top of that, we have a IP network going to more than 70 countries in the world. Totally, we have more than 350 million customers around the world, and that's for mobile and fixed, but we also have like 22 million TV customers. We have we have the world's largest IoT platform, more than 140 million devices connected to our IoT platform, and we're building products around that. In Africa, we operate with the Vodacom brand to distinguish ourselves there. So on top of that, then, we have all the digital and IT systems that are required to operate those very large networks. So it's all the back-end systems to make sure we operate and optimize the networks. It's the digital and IT systems that connect to our customers, so you can go online to do your business or go into one of our stores. If I then move on a little bit to our technology strategy, we are, as a company, moving on from having been a pure telecommunications company to be both a telecommunications and a technology company, and hence we are evolving our technology strategy to fit with that. I think in our industry, we are known for having world-leading competence in networks. But during the last 10 years, we've been building up in other areas, on digital, on cyber, on IT, and we've been doing heavy insourcing. So now we are more than 35,000 employees in the technology organization, and a lot of skill and a lot of engineers.
So we're talking about an all-encompassing digital strategy and huge expansion plans. It sounds like this is a really exciting time to be at Vodafone with a company that's offering a huge variety of opportunities in some of the most exciting tech sectors. Is that right?
Yeah, this is a great place to be.
So it all sounds super, super exciting. So what kind of technology and solutions will you be focusing on?
Well, engineering is at the heart of everything we do, and we have, especially during the last many years, been growing in software engineering, because as you all know, software is really what's driving the change in the world. The scale of what we do is very, very large, and that generates a lot of complex and interesting problems for engineers to solve and optimize. If I talk a little bit about the various areas where we operate then, so first of all, in the network space, it's really about building gigabit speed to households, whether it's fixed or mobile. 5G, you probably heard about that. Yes, of course, we're deploying 5G in Europe. And we have almost 300 cities in Europe covered with 5G. And we're already actually working on the 6G standardization that will come to the world in probably 6-7 years. We're not only doing the fixed networks, we actually have a partnership with a company doing some amazing stuff around satellites. There's a lot to talk about satellite connectivity. The unique with this company is that if it succeeds, it means that you can use your regular normal phone to get connectivity wherever you are on this planet, and that will change a lot of things. In the digital and IT space, we are doing all the heavy back-end systems to support this pretty big operation, but also the front-end systems. So whether you step into a store or have called a call center, you are increasingly doing business with us online instead through our app and web. And increasingly also using our chatbot with pretty advanced AI and ML functionality, so you can really interact, talking to us and get your things resolved. Yeah. On the cyber side, we operate in many countries what's called national critical infrastructure. As I said, we are Europe's largest provider. That means that there are some really bad guys. It could be nation states, or it can also be criminals that want to do bad things to us and our customers. So we operate a quite advanced cybersecurity organizations to protect our customers and ourselves from what they could be doing. On the product side, we've been working on developing new and innovative products around these areas, around our core business. Of course, the core business is super big and super important, but we're adding on products around it to provide more value to our customers. Things like edge computing, that's talked a lot around nowadays. You get low latency applications. We're doing things on blockchain. We have just launched a new product called the Digital Asset Broker, which is going to, probably none of you have heard about it, but it's going to rock the world. I'm really convinced. Yeah. And then various consumer and IoT products. And we work in very modern technologies. Everything is being developed is cloud native. We run a lot on AWS and GCP. We have an enormous data lake running on GCP. So in all countries, we have around 500 data streams going up to GCP in a harmonized data model. And you can do some really exciting stuff. With all that data, you can run next best action algorithms on what we do to our customers, or you can understand how the mobile network is performing and you can tune and optimize that, or you can plan and see how the business is going and you can plan activities. So it's very, very interesting. Very large transaction volumes, which make things always harder to solve. And on that, we're then applying the latest AI and ML capabilities. So there are some really amazing capabilities today in Google Cloud and in AWS. And of course, we need the right culture and the right people to make all of this happen.
Yeah, wow, there is so much going on. I think it's just demonstrates, or you've demonstrated quite nicely, just how Vodafone is really at the forefront of the latest technology and innovations that really have a chance to make an impact and change the way we live, work and communicate. And did I hear you correctly? Your Vodafone is working on the world's first space-based mobile network.
Yes.
That is, if that's not cutting-edge technology, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and we're shooting up the first satellite is going up just in a few months.
Wow, very exciting. Okay, Leanne, let's talk a bit more about life at Vodafone. You know, so working on these technology projects all sounds super exciting, but what other aspects of working culture are you focused on?
Well, I think it does start with those projects, and it really starts with interesting. I mean, when I listen to that, I think, wow, I wish I was in technology, you know. And I think people have evaluated differently over the last couple of years what they're looking for from work, and it has to be things that have real meaning for them, that are exciting to work on, but also make a difference to society. And again, when you listen to Johan, you can see that what we do really impacts how society develops. We keep societies connected. We've seen that particularly over the last couple of years. So we're very focused on making sure that we can create jobs and roles that really give people a sense of stretch and development, and do that in a way that's unique for them and individual for them, because we are all different.
Yeah,
and even
yeah,
though we're a big
course.
company, we want people to build their career here. So we have platforms where they can find their own development path. You know, it's up to us to provide that for them, but then they can get on and make that unique to them.
Yeah.
So it's this combination of really exciting, interesting work, having the space to develop and grow. We put a lot of focus on learning. You know, we have regular days which we dedicate to learning across the business.
Yeah.
And then also doing that in a way that everybody can access. So a huge priority for us is inclusion for all. It's part of our purpose. You know, we're very focused, whether that's on gender diversity, racial diversity, supporting the LGBT plus community, accessing work for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
You know, we work across all of these because we really want to get rid of the barriers that might stop people coming into Vodafone, and have everybody be able to be at their best here.
Yeah, and you know, I think it is such a massive bonus to be able to work somewhere that allows individuals to really make an impact and work for a company that really aligns with their core values. And, you know, you've just mentioned inclusivity, massive talking point at the moment, something that's so important. People want to have that sense of belonging and feel that they're part of almost like a family when they come to work, and know that any issues they have are going to be dealt with accordingly and in a nice and supportive way. And I think the fact that Vodafone is putting this at the forefront of what they do is nothing short of fantastic. Now, Johan, back to you. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Vodafone isn't traditionally thought of as a pure technology company. So, Johan, how are you managing this digital transformation?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's not been an easy journey to go from just a pure telecom to a tech comms company, as we call it. But we've been very fortunate. We have had great help from many amazing people, and there's been several US West Coast companies. I can just mention a few. We've had super good help from the chief architect at AWS. I mean, he really helped us 4 or 5 years ago on getting on the right path. The head of engineering at Facebook, he was so good, and his team has really helped us with a lot of things. But also people from Google and Microsoft has been so good. We also learned from some other companies here in Europe that are far gone on a transition to a technology company. And based on all those learnings we did jointly back in 2019 between the HR organization and the rest of the company, we changed our culture, started the journey to new culture, which is also, from my perspective, very tech-influenced and something we feel very comfortable, and we are very, very happy that that has happened. So, we are by no means done, but we are clearly on the train, and we're really picking up pace.
Yeah, I love the fact that, you know, you are working with other companies, because, you know, you can't do everything on your own. It's great to get information and help and inspiration from other companies to really help you bolster the products and services and opportunities that you guys offer. And I think it's just fantastic that the technology that you are utilising is bringing all of this to life. Now, within the tech sector, it's been well documented that businesses are struggling with the challenge of hiring and retaining skilled staff to actually work on these projects. Now, Leanne talked about the culture at Vodafone, but what do you think are the best ways of attracting new tech talent?
Yeah, it is a very competitive marketplace, so you need to make sure that you're a good employer and that you have a good employee value proposition. Really interesting jobs, good technology, great co-workers, etc. And I think we have that at Vodafone. Yeah. I mean, we have a technology organization that's more than 35,000 people, and we have world-leading competence, actually, in several areas, which I'm very proud of. And we introduced, about a year ago, something which is called a technology career path. Normally in a company, you have management career path, but we also, and which of course we have, but we also got a technology career path with 7 levels, and the top level is a Vodafone fellow, which we have 1 individual in the company. I think what we offer our employees is to be more involved end-to-end on developing something and then hitting the market, hitting the customer, providing value to the customer. Sometimes I hear from people that they work in a very big company and do a small piece, and they don't really see it, where it ends up, and maybe not always sure what impact they are having for the company. Yeah. I think in the way we operate, I think you have a much more possibility to see the outcome of your work. I think we push boundaries. We live in a very competitive marketplace. It's hard, but that drives great performance, drives innovation, and drives finding new solutions. The scale and volume we are having gives us the opportunity to work with some of the best companies in the world, because the best companies in the world, they don't have capacity to work with everyone, and I think we get our unfair portion of their attention in this. And as I said, we are leading in Europe and Africa, a big scale on that one. And also we see, since we operate such big and important national critical infrastructure, the threat we have from nation state and criminals is high, which means, of course, on the cyber side, we need to have some really, really skilled people.
Yeah, I think you're so right. It is about, pushing boundaries, because, employment these days is just about so much more than just job spec. It's important to offer incentive to flourish and grow, and the subsequent rewards is important as well. And also being able to see what impact and where your work's going, I think, is very important as well. I think it gives people that sense of belonging in a company that is really driving forward and making change in society. So yeah, it's fantastic to hear that from Vodafone. Now, an organisation's values can also be an important factor in choosing where people work. So Leanne, how important do you think a company's overall purpose is in terms of job satisfaction?
I think it's hugely important and gets ever more important. People quite rightly want to know, does this place share my values? When I come to work, I want to feel that this is a place where I can be myself, and that can only happen if we've got shared values. So hugely important, and it encompasses many different areas of our purpose. So our people are really, really interested in sustainability. That's really important to them. Our European network is already powered by renewable resources 100%, and we'll get there in Africa in the next 3 years as well, and we'll be fully net zero by 2040. So this is really an important part of how we build our products. It's core now to what we're doing. We've talked about inclusion, but inclusion is also a topic that we focus on outside the company. So things like digital inclusion. In Africa, our M-Pesa financial services network has over 50 million subscribers and really makes a difference to access to finance. So there's lots of examples of where we're really trying to have that positive impact in the societies around us, and sometimes in ways where we're responding to situations. So most recently in Ukraine, we've had some of our network engineers really support on the ground in terms of instant networks through our Vodafone Foundation. But we've also been opening up our recruitment processes to Ukrainians who are impacted by the war. And actually, we launched 3 weeks ago. We've already welcomed some of our first employees from Ukraine through that scheme, which has been absolutely brilliant. So these are the things that we can do because of the scale that we've got.
And offering these kind of opportunities makes Vodafone so attractive. It's a fantastic place to work. And I think when when you're happy in your job, when you're comfortable and being supported, you do a brilliant job, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's go back to what you were talking about with the satellite project that you mentioned. What problems will this solve?
Well, my belief is overall, if you look on this planet, and not only talking about the satellite, but generally looking on this planet, I think there are so many problems we are faced with overall. We are having problems with, we need to get to net zero. We have problems with water for agriculture to feed the population, and then a multitude of more problems. And I think I think technology is a key part to solve those problems. I don't think you can do it without it. And so there are going to be many different types of technology solutions. And I think maybe the satellite will be one puzzle in solving that problem. Now, if you look on various technologies that are being utilized to solve these type of challenges and problems, I believe that communication is at the heart of these things, because the various technologies need to talk to each other. And if you can't talk to each other, you can't solve the problem. So I think technology will pop up to be the solution for a large amount of different problems. And satellite comes into that context because without connectivity wherever you are on this planet, you can't make it happen. And you can't provide connectivity just by the fixed networks or the mobile networks on the ground, because you won't have the seas covered and you won't have all the rural areas covered, etc. So there are various pieces of the puzzle to achieve the objective.
Yeah. Honestly, my mind is just blown hearing you talk about this, because I just think it's so fantastic. It's just an example of how technology is so important in driving things forward, and such a big company like Vodafone being at the forefront of this technology. You must be extremely proud to be working for a company that's doing all these things. Yeah.
I'm super proud of the employees we are having. Yeah. We have so many competent and outstandingly good people in this company. It's a privilege to work here.
Yeah, I bet, and exciting because you work in tech. Leanne, so much has changed over the last 2 years. What are your biggest takeaways or learning from the pandemic?
Well, I think learning's the key word, and we are still learning. You know, we moved from one kind of system of work that wasn't particularly flexible to another kind of system of work that wasn't particularly flexible. And what we're really now focused on is how do we bring more flexibility. So hybrid working is part of that, and we have really experienced over the last couple of years that we can do jobs from places that we thought we might not be able to do them before. There are still, you know, plenty of roles where you need to be on the ground, actually, you know, in our operations centres or in the field as an engineer. But maybe we can offer some more flexibility in terms of time for those roles. But for a lot of jobs, we can be more flexible in terms of place, so we can hire for some roles literally from anywhere in the world, and that's really working for us now. We're also offering all our employees the chance to work from anywhere for 20 days a year, which, you know, it's a great opportunity now because we have this more flexible ways of working. It's also really important that when we come together and collaborate in person, that we've got great offices to do that in, so that's a focus for us as well, because we know there's just such a power from having people together as well. We want to be able to do both really well. So. A lot of this, though, is about listening to our people, you know, which we do all the time, to really understand what's going to make this a great working environment for them. And we're going to keep listening, keep learning. We'll adapt as we go. But I'm really focused on how do we create more flexibility.
Yeah, do you know, it is really refreshing to hear just how important flexibility is to you guys, because, you know, let's face it, the last 2 years have been very bizarre. We've all had to recalibrate and change the way we work, and it's changed our intrinsic values, it's changed what's important to us. Obviously, work is still very important, but being given that opportunity to work flexibly, work from anywhere, loving that, it gives people a real sense of freedom within a company, but still that, you know, they're still going to do a good job, and because they're being supported. So I think, honestly, fantastic that Vodafone is doing that. Okay, finally, guys, my last question. Looking ahead to the next decade and beyond, what excites you about the tech sector? Leanne, I'm going to go with you first.
Well, I think you've probably heard from what we've been talking about this morning. You know, the technology is everything that we do, but only through the people that are making it happen. And I feel we're building like the human spirit of technology here because of that wider impact that we can have, but also because of the diversity that we have within the company. And seeing that diversity come in, grow, develop, make a huge difference to the societies in which we work in is just brilliant. Yeah, I agree. It really is an exciting time. And Johan, what about you?
Well, I read somewhere that a person said, technology is the answer, but what is the question? And I really believe in that. I believe that with technology we can solve many of the most important problems in the world. And as I said, I think the communication is at the heart of it. And I think there's not really any boundary of what we can and what we can achieve. And so I think the future is exciting. It is, and I think that is a fantastic note to end this live session on. Johan and Leanne, thank you so much. I know you guys are incredibly busy, so we appreciate your time and sharing your knowledge and expertise with us on this live session for a really insightful and interesting conversation, so thank you. Now, if you guys would like to find out more about Vodafone technology or apply for a role, you can find out more at vodafone.com or careers.vodafone.com. That's vodafone.com or careers.vodafone.com. We'll, of course, put some links in the comments below as well, so you don't miss that. All that's left to say is thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.